The Rebel Moon director's cuts. Let's get it.
Can I say something right off the bat before you guys start on this topic?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
On your most recent episode of Lethal Geeks, you had a Curly Ray on, or the Curly Ray, and you mentioned you said something that I took issue with, and you guys told me, Costello told me, if this, whenever that happens, to not to be afraid to say it to you guys and to tell you guys. And you guys made a comment. I don't remember if it was Rock Talks or if it was you, Charles, but you were talking about the director's cuts of Rebel Moon. And you were talking about the controversy surrounding the lack of a trailer for Rebel Moon. And you had made the comment that the director's cuts are simply just extended versions of the versions that we already saw, as the reason for them not putting out a trailer. And I kind of took issue with that, because listening to Zack Snyder literally said that these movies could be in a different universe. These movies are very much different movies from the movies that we got initially off of Netflix. So I kind of was like, why would you guys say that? That's kind of like feeding into what the negative view is of Zack. Oh, they're not really director's cuts. They're just extended versions of the versions that we got. When Zack himself has pretty much come out and said that they're different movies. So
I don't think so. It was mostly me, because I was the one who mostly made those comments, and I wasn't trying to imply that they weren't going to be different, or I wasn't trying to imply it the way you made it sound. Okay. But I will touch on this when I give my take on Rebel Moon, because I am going to have a different take than the three of you. I already know that. So I'm going to kind of touch on that. But part of the whole thing was we ended up putting our foot in our mouths, because literally the next day he released the poster.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say.
And then he released the trailer, and I actually kind of made
trailer was different. Yeah.
And I actually kind of made an inside joke about that, when I designed a thumbnail where it was Leo Getz putting his foot in his mouth, and Zack Snyder was right there,
and just so you know, I'm not mad at you guys. I'm just busting your balls. That's all. I'm not really. It's just something that kind of stood out to me. What
it was is like we were also trying to figure out why wasn't it that we hadn't got a trailer at that point, right?
Yeah,
because we were expecting a trailer and we hadn't gotten it. So that kind of puts me where I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe the reason why we haven't gotten a trailer is because maybe the movie isn't as different as we thought it would be, or maybe it was that they didn't want to reveal the new footage, right?
And here's a funny part, though, just to add to that. There's some stuff. Now, I've read the novelizations for both Rebel Moons, right? And there's some stuff in the novels that's not even in the director's cuts. And I kind of, and that kind of hit me a little bit too, like, oh my God, there's actually stuff that if you read the book, you'll actually get more, than what you got from both, from the director's cuts and the theater. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there.
Well, here's what I have to say.
Is kind of like a media, kind of like a media blitz kind of thing, where you get something from all the different elements of Rebel Moon. So
here's what I have to say about it. So, as far as them being different movies, in most aspects, yes. And here's why I say in most aspects. If you guys paid attention, there were scenes that we didn't see. There were scenes that we did see that were just altered a little bit. And then there were scenes that we saw in the regular PG-13 cuts that we didn't see at all. That we saw in the PG-13 cuts. What he did, in my opinion, is he mashed all three of those elements together. So I did see stuff that I saw in the PG-13, but I also saw change the dialogue. I also saw added VFX. I also saw extended scenes that we didn't see in the PG-13 cut. So in my opinion, yes, they're different movies, but they're not that far removed from being different movies in the PG-13 cuts. They're not. If you pay attention, there are scenes in that movie in which we saw in the PG-13 cuts in both versions. Just gotta watch
well,
them.
yeah, there's
watch them all the way through.
Well, I mean, to counter that, yeah, there's scenes that are in the theatrical version of Justice League that are also in Zack Snyder's Justice League, but Zack Snyder's Justice League is still a different movie from the Justice League that we got in theaters.
Yeah, it's different. Right,
honestly,
it's gonna be different. Yeah, it's gonna be different in that aspect, but you got to remember that the this is what I mean, and I'm talking overall. This is what I'm saying. Coming together to find heroes, finding those heroes, having one of them betray you. Going into the second movie, you're recruiting more people, and you're mounting your defense, and then you're mounting your fight. And then part 3 comes out. They're going to find Issa, and then finally battle Belisarius. That's the same in both versions. That is the main plot. They're finding their heroes. They're mounting their defenses. They're finding out what really happened to the princess. They're going to find her. That's the same in all of them, in the PG-13 cut and in the director's cuts. So to me, that's what I'm talking about. They're just basically they're taking different paths, but they're on the same. You know what I'm saying? It's going to lead to the same outcome, basically. Yeah. And that's
He's not going to reinvent the wheel, but at the same time, they are different.
See, but Zod, I don't think you could compare Justice League and Zack Snyder's Justice League as a director's cut like you could compare Rebel Moon and Rebel Moon's director's cuts, because Justice League was not Zack's film. The Rebel Moon,
I'm only comparing it in the sense that there are some, from what you guys were saying,
yes,
about
there are scenes
that are
sure.
the same. Yeah, there are some scenes that are the same.
But again, like this is like a director's cut of a director's movie, right?
Yeah.
Whereas that director, the Justice League, that wasn't his movie. Yeah, his name was on it, but it wasn't his movie.
Right. Yeah, absolutely not. It wasn't his movie. So, but some of his scenes were used.
Some of his scenes
is
were
what I'm
used
saying.
repurposed, yes, for sure. Now,